Hi, I'm Heather. Welcome to class. Today we're going to work on an arm balance, and it's known as Vasisthasana, which is a pose named after sage Vasistha. And it's also known as the side plank pose. Before we begin, if you find this video helpful, be sure to like and subscribe. Before we come into balancing on our arm for Vasisthasana, let's practice Tadasana because it gives us a good sense of how we want to work through the legs and the pelvic abdominal area. So bring your legs together, ankle bones, big toe bones touching. Lift the toes, spread them well apart and feel the weight come back more into the heel side of the foot. Then as you're spreading the toes, press them firmly to the floor. Work the thighs back, but the buttocks forward. So if you see from the side, if I only press the thighs back and I don't press the buttocks forward, the buttocks stick back, the belly pulls forward, and the lower back is in a strong lordosis. And I'm not so strong here. When we come to the plank, we want to be strong in the mid-body. So as I press the thighs back, then I press the buttocks forward at the same time. So the two are pressing at the same time, thighs back, buttocks forward. Then I can zip the navel up from the pubis and lengthen the tailbone down. And that gives me a good pelvic abdominal lift, and I'm strong not only in the abdomen but also in the lower back. Then, with the front pelvic bones lifted, the lower abdomen lifted, I can stretch the arms down, complete the pose, Tadasana, and feel that I'm strong and I'm steady. And I want to take that strength and that steadiness into Vasisthasana. Let's take the arms out wide to shoulder height and feel as if you're pressing the hands down against a couple of benches. So that helps you to activate the latissimus dorsi muscle and the triceps. So rather than just letting the arms hang loosely there, can you get the feeling that you're bracing the shoulder blades into the back and roll from the front shoulder to the back shoulder. Turn your head to look over the right hand. And don't shorten the right side of the neck relative to the left. Try to keep the jaw parallel to the floor. And go on working your Tadasana legs. Thighs press back, buttocks press forward. Then turn the head back through the midline and turn to look over the left hand. Watch that your right shoulder is not rolling forward, following you. Keep pressing both shoulder tips back and down. Go on bracing the shoulder blades into the back as you press the hands down against your imaginary benches. And once more, don't shorten this. Now it's your left side of the neck. Keep both sides of the neck the same length. And then lower your arms. If we take that idea of Vasisthasana, but use the wall to inform the action of the arm. So if I mirror you, I'll take myself to the wall and I'm going to press the right palm into the wall, the wrist at shoulder height. And as I spin the biceps up towards the ceiling, I want to roll from the front shoulder to the back shoulder and engage the shoulder blade into the back. So then my armpit chest can lift up. And to give me a feeling of leaning into the arm, I can step out a little from the wall, so I'm diagonally leaning into the wall. And then notice what's happening in this mid-body. Can you press your thighs back, buttocks forward, tailbone down, pubis to navel up. So you're engaged here in the pelvic abdominal area. Then look along your left fingertips and roll both shoulders back and down. Then let's come out of the pose and swap sides. So we can press the left hand into the wall, the wrist about shoulder height, and roll the biceps up towards the ceiling, roll from the front shoulder to the back shoulder, feel your shoulder blades engaged into the back, and then step out a little so you're on a diagonal and get the feeling that you're pushing the wall away from you. Stretch out the right arm, but again, watch that you're not sticking the buttocks back. Press your thighs back, press the buttocks forward, zip the navel up, And now you're looking along your right arm, breathing smoothly and staying strong in the mid-body. And then let's release and step out of the pose. We'll come down onto the knees now and prepare for a down face dog pose and the straight arm plank. So if we set the big toes touching, knees a little wider than the hips, stretch forward in Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing hero pose, and establish straight arms. Then we'll transition to downward facing dog pose. Inhale, shoulders forward. Exhale, lift up the hips, keep the elbows straight and straighten your knees. Stay with this. Draw the heels down. As you maintain straight knees, lift the sitting bones up. Couple of breaths here. As you're ready, we'll come forward with the shoulders, vertically top the wrists. Roll the biceps forward and pressurize the knuckles of the index fingers down. So when we bring the shoulders forward, the weight more easily can press down through the inner hands. Sternum forward, navel up and back towards the back abdominal wall, tailbone in, shin bones press up. And then pull your hips back, up and back for your down face dog pose. Take a couple of breaths. When you're ready, let's do the straight arm plank pose again. Look forward. Keep the elbows straight, keep the knees straight, shoulders come vertically top the wrists, tailbone in. One straight line from your shoulders through your hips to your feet. Draw the navel up and back towards the back abdominal wall. Sternum forward, shoulders, hips back. And then pull the hips up and back. Pressurize the inner hands down as you're back in your down face dog pose. Let's come down, have a rest, relax the arms and shoulders for a moment. Now we'll stretch the arms forward again and prepare to balance on the inner and outer feet. So let's come to our down face dog pose. Lift up the hips and we're just going to practice swiveling the feet. So if we swivel onto the outer right foot and the inner left foot, the hips will need to move across to the right side and then come back over onto the balls of the feet and swivel onto the outer left foot and the inner right foot. And then back onto the balls of the feet once more, swivel, outer right foot, inner left foot, back onto the balls of the feet, and once more, swivel onto the outer left foot, inner right foot, and back onto the balls of the feet. This time as we swivel onto the outer right foot, the inner left foot, can you take your left hand off the floor? Maybe just for a moment. You can take the fingertips off the floor. You're balancing on the right hand. Then come back into your dog pose. Swivel onto the outer left foot, the inner right foot. And again, can you start to become weightless there in that right hand? Pick the right hand up off the floor. Swivel. Back to your dog pose. And again, swivel onto the outer right foot, inner left foot. This time, can you reach your left hand to the waist? Notice, are these hips lifting too high? Can you create a straight line? Have a look along your body. Straight line from the breastbone through the navel to the inner legs. And then back to your dog pose. Swivel onto the outer left foot, inner right foot. Can you place the right hand on the waist? And again, watch you're not lifting the hips too high. That may be helpful in the beginning. However, if you can manage, lower the hips. The hips come to that point, we're creating a straight line from the breastbone through the navel to the inner legs. And then place the right hand back to the floor, back to your dog pose. And again, come down and have a rest for a moment. It can be quite a challenging pose to sustain. So we're going to bring a chair and a bolster into play so that we can work with how it is to weight bear in one arm, but with some support under the outer hip. You'll see that I am using a chair now with the bolster on top of the chair, and the back of the chair will be at the back of my body as I come down to balance on one arm. I'll be mirroring you, so if you come onto your right knee and prepare to bring your right hand onto the floor on the other side of the chair, if you're not so long in the limb or your chair is quite high, you could potentially put a brick underneath your right hand. But let's see how we go. Can we lean the waist, lengthen the waist onto the bolster, and then as you press your left hand into the floor, you'll see I'm already starting to straighten my lower leg. So my outer right foot is on the floor, and just for a moment, let's keep this top leg bent. You can press that left foot into the floor to maintain your lift through the hips and work out, is this suitable to have your hand on the floor, or do you need to put some height underneath the hand? Do you need to put a brick underneath your hand? Your hand is on the floor and you're rolling from the front shoulder to the back shoulder. The biceps roll forward. And then you've got your support underneath the waist and the outer hip. We're going to stack the left ankle bone on top of the right ankle bone. You're trying to lengthen the inner right foot to the floor as the ankle bones match. Then you're peeling the outer left foot up towards the outer hip and compacting the hips. Then we can raise this top arm, look up and peel the chest up towards the ceiling. So this left side chest lifts up towards the ceiling as you turn to look up. Remember the action of Tadasana that we established earlier. Press your thighs back, but press the buttocks forward and zip the navel up. Draw the navel up from the pubis and draw it back towards the back abdominal wall. Then lower the arm, step the left foot forward and bring your right knee to the floor to come out of the pose. Let's swap sides. So we can give ourselves a bit of mat here on the other side of the chair. You can start coming down onto your left knee. Lean the left waist over the bolster. Reach the left hand to the floor or to your brick. And you might notice that as you're getting the hand in place, that the biceps roll forward, the shoulder rolls forward. Once you establish more weight, then you might be able to change that positioning of the biceps and the shoulder. But use right foot on the floor as you extend and straighten the lower leg. So left leg straight, you're on the outer left foot, and then suction the left hand into the floor. Can you roll the biceps forward towards the finger side rather than the thumb side? Biceps roll forward and front shoulder to the back shoulder. Get the feeling that you're bracing the shoulder blade into the back, like we did when we were standing earlier with the arms outstretched. Then can you straighten the top leg, match the ankle bones, and you're trying to lengthen the inner left foot to the floor and peel the outer right foot back up towards the outer hip and compact this outer hip. Suck the outer hip in. Zip the navel up and then stretch your arm up, look up and turn the right side chest up towards the ceiling without rolling this left shoulder forward. Can you keep the left shoulder rolling back as you turn to look up? Then remember the Tadasana action in the legs and the pelvic abdominal area. Press your thighs back, press the buttocks forward, tailbone in, pubis to navel up and in. Steady breath. And then lower the arm and let's bend the right leg, step the right foot onto the floor, lower the left knee to the floor and come out of the pose. Let's try that without the chair and the bolster. So if we come onto hands and knees, again, I'm going to mirror you and we'll start by balancing on the right arm. Let's come to our down face dog pose. Establish a steady rhythm with your breath. I'm going to swivel onto the outer right foot and balance on the right arm. So come onto the outer right foot, stack the left ankle bone atop the right, and then raise the left arm up. Press your thighs back, buttocks forward, roll the right shoulder back. Perhaps you can look up. Sweep the left chest up. Notice if you're sticking the buttocks back or pressing the belly forward. Can you correct that? And then back to your dog pose. And then we'll come to balance on the other arm. So I'm going to turn around. So I'm still facing you when I come into my balance. Vasisthasana on the left arm. So come onto the outer left foot and stack the right ankle onto the inner left ankle. And as you're ready, sweep the right arm up. Press your thighs back, buttocks forward, so the tailbone is in, the abdomen is held and contained. Turn to look up. So as you turn to look up, sweep the right chest up towards the ceiling and go on rolling the left shoulder back. And then place the right hand back to the floor. Come back to your dog pose. Bend your knees and come down to rest. As I mentioned, Vasisthasana can be a challenging pose. That's the first variation. There are other variations where we involve the legs and do particular actions with the legs. And if you'd like to know more, I have a video on my video library, heatherkitchenyoga.com.au, and that will help lead you through some of the leg variations of Vasisthasana. That's it for today. Thanks for joining me. For more in-depth teaching, check out the video library on my website, heatherkitchenyoga.com.au. The link is in the description box below.